Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Roofing Resource Channel. Now, living on the Grand Strand has its perks. The beach, the breeze, the ocean waves, but this coastal climate can definitely put a lot of stress on roofs. So today we're going to be talking about how heat, humidity, and salt air can really eat away at your roof over time. We'll talk about what really happens to your shingles, your underlayment, your metal, and what you should know as a homeowner to protect your roof before issues become expensive. Let's get into it. Okay, Brinson, the topic today that we're going to be talking about is just this coastal climate and how it impacts roofs based on the heat, humidity, and salt air that we get around here. So the first thing I really want to ask you is, as far as the coastal climate around here in Myrtle Beach, how hard is that on roofs, or why is that so hard on roofs?
Yeah, the reason why is couple factors. One is the intense UV or sun exposure. The UV exposure that we get just causes those shingles we see to age faster and deteriorate quicker. Another is the high humidity levels that we have here. There's a lot of moisture in the air, and a lot of times that moisture can linger around. That can cause mold, algae, tons of problems when talking about a roof as a system, right? The salt air just causes any of the metal components you have, like flashing areas, maybe some pipe boots, skylights, vents. The salt air just causes that to potentially rust or just corrode quicker. With me being born in the upstate of South Carolina, 3 hours inland, I definitely can tell a big difference, right? One thing I've noticed is roofs further inland you go may last a little bit longer.
About how much of a difference what would you say?
It's hard to pinpoint, of course. As we talk about all the time, there's a lot of factors that really go into a roof and how long it lasts.
Correct.
The main one of those being the quality of the installation. But if I had to guess, if a roof will last 17, 18 years here at the coast, you'll probably get closer to 20, if not over 20, the further inland you go.
Okay. Now, one thing I want to ask you and kind of dive into, you started to a little bit, but just, the different components of a roof system and how this coastal climate can affect those specific parts. So, like the asphalt shingles, you kind of dove into some of the metal and everything like that. Correct. So kind of walk me through some of the key components of a roof system and how this climate can affect those key components.
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as the shingles themselves, the asphalt shingles, the humidity, the heat, and the UV exposure, that just causes them to become more brittle, dries them out faster, which can just shorten that life cycle. Right? As far as the metal components, you got your flashing. Hopefully you're using aluminum, but there are situations where aluminum is not being used, and just that humidity and salt air just makes the corrosion and the rust more likely to happen, and also happen a lot faster.
So you spoke about aluminum specifically. What other metals that are there that people can use that would not be a good thing? Or if maybe someone has not aluminum on their house, maybe they should look at that. But what kind of metals are there that corrode pretty easily?
Yeah, so steel are the ones, like it's common to see steel drip edge around the home instead of aluminum. And what we see in that situation is it'll just start to rust, and you'll see the rust streaks going down your siding. Yeah. So that's a common one that we see. And then as far as metal roofs go, depending on how close a homeowner is to the coast, if you're directly on the coast or not far from there, we would never even consider putting anything up other than an aluminum standing seam. And like I said, we can go down that rabbit hole, the fasteners as well on those metal roofs. Another, is the sealant that's used, like caulking, right? A lot of times caulking is used on different areas of the roof, and with the heat, the salt air, humidity, it's just going to cause that sealant to erode faster.
Okay. And as a homeowner, what would a homeowner in this area notice first if their roof is starting to show this suffering of the coastal climate?
Yeah, so a couple different things. One thing we see often is the amount of rock granules that are in the gutters, right, or just falling off the roof, right? As the roof ages, as it starts to dry out and crack and curl, those rock granules will fall off, and you'll find them in the driveway or in your flower bed or at the bottom of a downspout, right? So that's one way. A lot of times too is any of the metal components of the roof, you can check for any kind of rust or corrosion in those areas. Obviously leaks, you always want to keep an eye out for leaks, right? Whether that's just checking your ceilings in rooms that you don't often go into, or even just doing an attic inspection, depending on how accessible your attic is.
No, absolutely. Now, are there any materials or practices that people in this area can be doing to be proactive against this climate as far as making sure that they can get the most out of their roof and maximize that longevity?
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of things. One would be regular inspections. Especially as your roof gets older in age. It doesn't hurt to yearly or every other year, just have a reputable roofer or home inspector come out, check the overall life of the roof. Somebody that does it for a living is going to be able to spot things quicker. Common ones would be, like we talked about, the sealant going away on any of the flashing areas. A lot of the pipe boots are rubber and plastic, so those will over time begin to dry rot and crack, typically around the 10 to 15 year mark. So definitely having those inspections. Another thing that we always preach is having your roof blown off. So depending on the shape of the roof, some roof shapes and tree surroundings, the amount of trees and types of trees can be more prone to piling up on the roof, which can just lead to one, the roof deteriorating quicker, and also making it more prone for leaks.
At the beginning when we were discussing, you kind of touched on the lifespan and I know you mentioned about 17, 18 compared to what inland might be a little bit longer. What is a realistic lifespan that you see for coastal roofs around here as far as an average?
Yeah, as far as average, I'd probably say 16 to 18 years on average. Now, of course, there's a lot of factors that can swing it one way or the other. We've replaced roofs much younger than that due to poor installation the first time. And then we've also replaced roofs that are 20, 30, 24 years old. So they held up really well. So it really just depends. I will say that your newer shingle your shingle manufacturers today have realized that in coastal areas, there's going to be different factors, different challenges to face, whether that's algae growth, there's moisture, or putting more of an emphasis on the ventilation aspect of it. So in our experience, newer shingles, architectural shingles that are of the high quality are going to have a lot of those factors already built into the newer shingles.
And one of the last things I'm going to ask you here is just, if you're talking to a homeowner, what are like the key 1, 2, 3 pieces of advice you give someone that's like, hey, I'm just trying to figure out what to do with my roof here in this coastal area?
I'd say the first thing is obviously get a professional to inspect the roof at least once a year. They're going to be able to give you an honest opinion / assessment on what shape the roof's currently in, what are good next steps, and how much life you got left in it. The second thing I would be, just keeping what we've talked about today in mind whenever you're choosing the roof, whether it be the materials we're using or the ventilation that needs to be looked at. Make sure that the roofer that you do go with is familiar with that, ideally been here for a while and know what to look for. And then the last thing is just staying on top of maintenance, right? Regularly cleaning out your gutters, having somebody blow off your roof, cleaning off any leaves or build up debris that may be up there.
All right. Well, Brinson, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
If you like this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment with any questions or experiences you've had with roof installs. For more information on this topic, visit our learning center at linterroofing.com. Thanks for watching.